Well, it's not a well-known fact that when the South lost the war, actually most of the deaths and injuries were from disease and microbes. It wasn't actually from the bullets from the Yankee North. So the Southerners had one of these. Each one had one of these ParaZapper 6-packs. Guarantee you, the South would have won handily as long as the North didn't have these. So I just want to put this video out as Confederate ParaZapper. Now, there's a lot of different ways of using this device. Now, it's not endorsed by the FDA, but it's been proven to work in water. We know that. And it's also been proven to work on slides where you can see a microbe being destroyed by the positive offset square wave current. Basically, this device is a mini frequency generator that is running a square wave, 100% positive offset, which means it never goes to negative voltage, and it runs a slight pedestal offset, so it actually runs about, up to about 10 volts positive down to about a half a volt positive. It never even hits zero, because according to Hulda Clark, who actually designed this originally, she says that it will the positive offset will knock out, with a square wave, will knock out every microbe there is, at the same time boosting the immune system immensely, especially if you run it a lot. Now, this is what we're going to get down to. Actually, I put a video out on my American-Russian survival channel. I did not want to put out on this channel because I really went into some things that you're not. Maybe it was a little too heavy for what this can do. Even though this is a simple device, the more you use it and the better methods you use it, the better it works. You don't actually need to get the more expensive device. That might be for later after you see how well the 6-pack runs. This is the cheapest one. But you could do, though, these are copper paddles underneath here. Copper. They're wrapped in a white paper towel that's wet with tap water or saline solution, saltwater solution, so they conduct electricity. So you have a positive side, which is the red wire coming out of this red contact here, and the ground side. The positive side is actually doing all the work, the main part of the work. Where you can run this with these paddles, what I'd like to do sometimes I'll put even these tubes under the arms or something, but you can also use a waistband. This is actually a concealed carry waistband. I think it's like 20 bucks or 25 bucks on Amazon. It's AOS. You read that? It's freaking shiny light on here. AOS redefined perfection. The light on here is pretty strong. It's camera light. So anyway, yeah, maybe that'll help. How's that? AOS redefined perfection. Okay, so the deal is that you can put paddles in each side of this, and actually there's a little compartment here. You can actually stick the zapper in there. Just wear it like on a waistband. Now, I realize that, so many lower frequencies. This runs 14 frequencies. It's got 6 modes. That's why they call it a 6-pack. And it's got 3 in the 30,000 range mode, which is the original Hulda Clark frequencies. It's got 4 in the Rife mode. These are actually very good frequencies. I like using the 30,000 range and the 10,000 range if the paddles are touching sensitive parts where the skin is more sensitive, like around the waist, or if it's under the arms or something. If you're holding them in your hands with these handhelds and using the foot pads, you can run anything because the skin is thicker in the hands, or the palms of the hands and bottom of the feet. You're not going to feel any kind of sensitivity from, problems with it, irritating your skin after a while. It does take a while to do that. That's on the more sensitive areas of your skin, but this does have, a higher frequencies that you basically don't even feel them. The 10,000 hertz is actually an extremely good frequency because 9,999, which is basically 9,999, 10,000 is really the same thing, basically, very close to each other. One of them is actually, the 9,999 is actually energy and vitality. And I've noticed that when you run this 10,000 a lot, and I'm talking about maybe 10, 12 hours a day or more, you seem to have a lot more energy. But to do that, to me, it's real easy because I just sleep with the device on, and then I'll wear it for several hours with the belt on. And I'm like, it doesn't interfere with anything I do at all. One of the ways I tested my body's electrical strength was through another device. It's not actually sold by ParaZapper, but it's sold by Thunderbolt. He's got a device. It's from out of Maine. I think it's Thunderbolt. And that device measures your body's, electrical strength, which is basically, how strong you are overall in health. And because your electrical levels in your body are really related to your health. As a matter of fact, the frequency of your cells is also related to the electrical charge of your cells. And the higher frequency of your cells, the stronger you are. The stronger the battery voltage of your cells, like a highly trained athlete will have even stronger battery voltage than a normal person. But you can actually get some of that benefit even from just a zapper. And I noticed I did excellent on a test when I tested it with the Thunderbolt body tester. Now Thunderbolt sells a zapper that's like you have to. It's the same. You got I don't know. I don't want to say one thing bad or anything good about technology, but I could say you have to sit there with the paddles, your foot pads, and handhelds. And I personally don't like doing that because it wastes time. But if I ever had a serious illness, I would do that. I could guarantee you that. Because it gets through the whole body. Now, the ParaZapper has the capability of using the 4-point system too, whereby you would take one of these plugs, here the red one, plug it into red and the green into the green. You would have 3 points positive offset, both the feet, one in the hands, and the other hand would be the ground. You run that for a while and you switch hands, and you'd have the other hand as the ground. This way, it's actually 3/4 of the body is being flooded with the positive offset square wave, which knocks out every microbe there is. Now, this is the cheapest zapper he sells, but this one actually is still damn good. I would suggest this because I don't want anybody spending a lot of money on anything, or I'm not really selling it. I actually ordered a second one of these because I don't want to take, if I take this zapper outside, and I wouldn't want to take the My 3 or something out there or some garbage or whatever, which I never did anyway, but I always took this one outside. I want to have some extras because I know this damn thing works. It's like, all these preppers and survivalists, they get all this stuff. Damn, you know what? The worst thing that can happen to you is if you get sick, because then you can't do anything. There's a lot of technologies out there that are very complex that not only, could you just do things with certain types of nutrition and stuff, but there's also electronic technologies actually that can cure a lot of stuff. You've heard of the Doug coil? Doug coil, D-O-U-G, Doug, like the guy Doug. It was named after a guy named Doug who developed it. It's a magnetic pulsing coil. And he cured himself with Lyme disease with it. There's another guy, I don't want to name the guy's name, but he had a magnetic pulsing coil, and I don't want to say what the old web email was, and I don't want to say where the technology went to either, but there was a guy that was, he used to reduce the HIV viral load by over 90% with a device. I can tell you what happened to him. I don't want to say his name. He died of a car accident. He lived in California at age 43. He died of a car accident. That was the end of that. What happened with Royal Rife, and also when he developed his beam ray radio frequency device that knocked out the cancer virus. Now, of course, we have the Spooky 2 over there, which I have Spooky 2 Central, and I could tell you, let's say it's my opinion, but not exactly. It's a fact. But it's the John Wade settings on that thing will knock out cancer. Now, actually, it's the ParaZapper. The main limitation on a zapper is that will the frequencies reach deep enough to where the problem is? That's the whole thing. Like when you're using a 4-point system with 3 points positive, you're pretty much getting you're really getting pretty down for most of the body. But considering the price, I mean, these some of these devices that are, you know, pulsed electronic and magnetic technology and plasma run by, you know, another device, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. And they're not portable either. I mean, this thing, I could take a couple batteries in a special solar charger that charges up 9-volt batteries and use it out in the field. You know, in other words, say for instance, I got a cut on my arm and I was afraid of it getting infected. I know I've used this against that, and I've used it against a tooth infection one time. When I had a cold a little bit, I put the paddle up on the throat, the positive offset side. Boy, it knocked it right the heck out. You know, it took me many years to start figuring out what really, really works. This thing is the best bang for the buck. You know, personally, you're probably best getting a 6-pack and a My 3. You know, because you use the My 3, especially when you're using a 4-point system set up. But, you know, probably the best initial investment would be to get the 6-pack with all the paddles, the wrist straps, the whole 9 yards, you know, and the battery charger and the tool batteries and stuff. That probably would be the cheapest thing to do overall, because I do know that it's extremely powerful. And, you know, it's far more powerful than you think. But the problem is people don't use it enough. And even if you got nothing wrong with you, you're good, you're smart to use it a lot, especially with, I like that 10,000 hertz frequency, because you know, it doesn't provide any irritation on the skin, even if it's used like 10, 12 hours a day, even on irritation of the skin. I'm not talking about, you know, if it's in the palm of your hand, you're holding these are not going to irritate your skin, even at the lower frequencies. But if it's, say, it's on your inside of your wrist, yeah, that'll irritate your skin after a while. But if it's on 10,000 hertz or 30,000 hertz, no problem. And it has those modes in here. So, and actually, again, I said I put a video out on my American Russian Survival channel. I started thinking about all those blonde, beautiful, blue-eyed, blonde women in Ukraine and Russia dying of HIV, and I says, you know what? I got to drop a dime on here, man. I mean, I'm not going to tell you on YouTube, or this channel, but I did tell you on the other channel. And you know what? If these people, you know, the people that are the tech giants that want me to say this, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying. Yeah, you can prove it to you every freaking time. But it doesn't work if you use it for like a couple hours a day. Maybe it does a slight amount. But the real benefits, well, even Hulda Clark said you got to use it 8 hours a day or more. She was knocking out all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's amazing what that lady was doing. But this device has better electronic circuitry that's more accurate, that can handle the square wave under load better. It's got, instead of a single frequency, it's got 14 frequencies. You know what? I forgot what it is. I think with just the handles, it's like 139. But then if you add the foot pads, these things, and the wrist straps, and the battery charger, you know, it's definitely going over 200 somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I don't sell these things, so I forgot what. I mean, I ordered another one with the wrist straps and the paddles again. But I personally like this. You know, I ordered the wrist straps just for the hell of it, but I personally like this thing. This is just a, what do you call it? It's just a concealed carry thing by AOS from Amazon. And I put this on there because just in case this stupid Velcro doesn't hold on there really good. I modified it because I don't like the way this thing was exactly. It's good for, it's perfect for this. I didn't really like it for the gun so much because I could modify it more for the gun. So anyway, the Bang Bang gun. I should put my black, I wish I could conceal carry my black powder, the 1851. Boy, that would be cool. Even if I put blanks in it, just shooting it with the big flame coming out with the smoke, boy, that would scare them away. Anyway. Put some peanuts in it or some shit. I mean, I'm not going to battle. Anyway. That's a wrap. So, just, you know, if the Confederacy had this technology way back when, over half the casualties in the Confederacy wouldn't have never happened because most of them were from disease. Disease. I don't know. I mean, what, you know, I know I've been using this thing for a while. I know it works like crazy. And I know there's other things that don't work so good. And I mentioned about other people that were working for Lockheed Martin that were telling you they had another device that was way better than this. They used to work for the Department of Defense, and they worked for Lockheed Martin as a subcontractor, and they say, oh, I got something way better than the Holder-Clark device. This is not a Holder-Clark exactly, but it's you know, it is Holder-Clark's technology, the positive offset. He's got the Clark mode in there. Instead of having one frequency, he's got 3. But that's just mode 1. You got 6 modes and 14 frequencies. So it's vastly far more improved than the Holder-Clark, you know, technology. Plus, it's got constant current technology too. And plus, it's got the indicator lights. It has a light on there, like if it's on. You can see that. Jesus, put this on here. Yeah, you can see the bulb, right? You can see the flash. Beep, beep, beep. And each, you know, that's mode 2, mode 3. See, 1, 2, 3. It's got different, you know, flashes, and actually you could tell what kind of load is on here by this light starts getting a little more reddish. You know, you want to make sure you keep. If you're using this a lot of hours, every couple hours, re-wet these things with saline solution or tap water, so there's a good electric contact. And as you can see, there's copper under here. Is there copper? Yes, copper under here, man. There. Oh, God. Oh, you can't even see it. Baby can see it. There, you can see that a little bit there. Yeah, copper. See copper? There it is, copper. And as that copper gets tarnished, you want to clean it. But, you know, it can stand quite a bit of tarnish and still work good, because I found, even though it's got some tarnish on it, the tarnish is not going to get on your body really, because it's wrapped in a few pieces of cloth, of, you know, paper towel. And if this is wet, the tarnish is wet, and just the moisture keeps the tarnish doesn't really affect the electric contact, you know, how much electricity is flowing through the device at all, as far as I could tell, because of the moisture from the, you know, putting the tap water on the paper towel. And it doesn't really get into the body, because you got a few layers of paper towel here, you know. It's not like you're touching copper. So these I actually painted with some zinc paint. I don't know if that's a smart idea, but I was trying to see if I can keep them from tarnishing fast. You can see this copper's underneath here. But I don't really use the foot pads too much. But I know if I ever had a, you know, serious problem where, you know, I can barely walk or some crap, and I'm really sick, and I got no energy, I'd be pulling out this 4-point contact method and running it for as long as I possibly could, right? That's the best way to do it. That's the fastest results. But even the 2-point method works fine. And, you know, I could sleep with one of these between, like, the legs and one of them under my arm, like that. I could just, you know, sleep it on my side. It's like things running all night. And I'm like, I don't even know it's there. I run it on 10,000 hertz usually. And then during the day, I put these two in here. It's like, it doesn't affect anything. Nothing. Nothing. I feel great. But like I said, you know, there's other things out there that can really do a job, like the Doug coil, you know, Lyme disease. You know, there's ozone machines. It's not electronic, but it's something else. But these things are expensive. This thing, you know, I would suggest, you know, not just getting a zapper itself, get the whole 9 yards kit, you know, like the battery charger, the batteries, the rechargeable batteries. At least get these paddles too, besides the handheld paddles. At least get these. And I would get, you know, this concealed carry belt, whatever the hell you call this, because then you can use this, put the paddles in. One on each side. See? One there, one there, on the inside, right? Right there. Opposite sides of the waist. Because actually, you know, as long as you're getting the blood supply, that's another thing. As long as you're getting the blood supply, you're actually boosting the immune system and knocking out the microbes in the blood supply. Now, the other place that this thing might not reach that well is inside the gut. But then there's a lot of things you can do to fix problems where there's microbes in the gut. You can even use plain cinnamon. You can use garlic. You can use colloidal silver. You can use, what the heck else is there? A few other things. Activated charcoal can even help bring out toxins and poisons. You know, one of them I just slipped my mind. It was really excellent, though. Oh, coconut oil. Coconut oil, which is a monolaurin. It's an antimicrobial. That can even help with problems. A lot of times, the microbes are in the gut, and then they're teeming and multiplying, and then they're jumping into the blood supply. And then all of a sudden you have blood infection. And then it's going all over your body. It's affecting other areas. See, the one place the zapper could really help is it could stop the part where the blood is getting infected. Even though it's... But you want to stop it at the source, too. And that's where you would want to take, like, the garlic or the colloidal silver or maybe all of them at different times. Even cinnamon, honey. Honey's like antimicrobial. Garlic, as I said before. Even activated charcoal can absorb poisons. Vitamin C, high oral doses of vitamin C, and then, you know. But as this is going on, the microbes that are in the stomach or whatever it is, they're going and they're jumping out into the blood. This will knock out the microbes in the blood. Even if you're not wearing the 4-point system, the 4-point system would be better, but it's not that convenient to do. That's one reason I don't use the Thunderbolt Zapper. You know, I think the guy's got a great product too. I don't like sitting there zapping 4 points when I could just throw this on my waistband and do this instead with this thing, because it's portable. But again, you know, if you're a real survivalist, prepper, like I said, I bought several of these damn things. I don't know. Let's see. I got a couple more right here. Plus I got 2 more after this. Plus I even got a little mini, I don't know, it's called an Extreme. And I got another one that's a Clark Zapper from someplace else. That's, so, actually I think I'm going to keep one of these in my car. Because I actually, when I drive somewhere, I wear this thing. If I'm driving for an hour, I'm zapping for an hour too. And I like that 10,000 hertz mode a lot too, because it does seem to provide energy. It doesn't seem to do it right away. It's like it takes like weeks of using it a real lot, and all of a sudden you're saying, "Whoa, wait a minute! Well, I feel pretty good." And the problem is there ain't enough hours in the day to get everything done. I mean, I got the energy to do things, but it's like, I think these YouTube videos take up a lot of time too, but I just can't emphasize enough how important this is. And this thing, the ParaZapper is the best bang for the buck. I mean, there's other people I could tell you, they go, "Oh, it's technology," and I think some of that technology might be better, but not more convenient. And it could be, you know what? Some of this really high-end technology would be great if the hospitals adopted it. You know, if you had expert doctors diagnosing what was wrong, and because maybe if you know the frequency is good for pneumonia, but how do you know you got pneumonia for sure, right? Just maybe a doctor needs to tell you that. Maybe you can figure it out. Maybe you can't. But you know, a lot of times you need a doctor to diagnose what's wrong. I know the frequencies do work. A lot of them do. But you know, that's where the more complicated technology would probably be great for, you know, in hospitals. But they're never going to do that in the United States because it's a big money racket. So this is the Confederate, see? Confederate, 1, 2. Got one on the back here. The Confederate ParaZapper. If we had this back in 1861, more than half the casualties would have never occurred. And actually, even the other people that weren't casualties, the other rebels, whatever, Confederates, that were not casualties, they would have been way more healthy, way more energetic, and it really would have super whooped on the freaking Yankees. So how's that? This thing works, man. No BS. I do not BS people. I do not exaggerate. And, you know, the best bang for the buck. I'm a very practical person. This thing is, like, wonderful, man. You know, rebel hats off to ParaZapper.